During 2 days within the months of July and August, we come together as one to celebrate the end of slavery on the island of Bermuda. The first day of this annual event, which began in 1834, commemorates Bermuda's emancipation, recognizing the contributions made by Bermudians of African descent, as well as those who struggled against the injustices of slavery and its aftermath. Established in 1902, yet recognized as an official holiday in 1947, the Cup Match Classic event has now been woven into the social fabric of our beautiful island shores. The second day, recently branded Mary Prince Day, acknowledges the strength, resilience, and power represented by one of Bermuda's honorary trailblazers. The players have been selected, and now it's time for the best of Somerset and St. George's cricket teams to compete for the Cup. Spectators have come to Bermuda from all around the world to witness this match, play Crown and Anchor, and enjoy what is the biggest event of the year.
Welcome to the highlight special of Cup Match 2024, the 122nd Annual Cup Match Classic. This was a year that promised to be one of the biggest in years, and considering the size and spectacle, 2024 did not disappoint. St. George's, coming in after having made no less than 7 changes, were excited and fully optimistic. With an informed Championship League team and those 7 exciting changes, felt they had what it takes to get it done and take Bermuda's most coveted trophy back to Wellington Oak. Somerset, with new captain Terran Frey at the helm, were adamant that this team held sufficient firepower in their arsenal to hold off their opponents and retain the coveted Cup Match trophy, one they have held since 2012. Hello everyone, my name is Sean Tucker, and I'm here with Jason Ford, and we are your Voice of Summer team. And it's our pleasure to bring you the highlights of this, the 2024 Annual Cup Match Classic.
Tonight, we'll give you the highlights from on the field, from the catches to the shots to the outs, but also around the field, the fashion. Also tonight, we will have the presidents of both clubs, Somerset Cricket Club and St. George's Cricket Club, along with Kamal Lavrock, who played a very important role in this year's Classic. So, come back and join us here at the 2024 Cup Match Highlight Show right here on Channel 82.
Man, 2024, if you ain't here, man, you scared. You know what I'm saying? St. George's.
I don't touch no wheel cause I got it. That's how I get around the world. Just miss me with the drama. Or did you just tell me something? Jump. Oh, you know I love to make it jump. Dum, back it up. You know I love to make it jump. Oh, you know I love to make it jump. Dum, back it up. You know I love to make it.
Only gotta make a call and I'm here. Gonna wanna know your vibe, oh yeah. Listen to me, I put some carrots in your ear. Make this stitch up, I wanna put it in the ring.
Hey Bermudian entrepreneurs, discover the simplicity of showcasing your products and services and get your business online and in front of virtual shoppers today. Use Buy Bermuda. For qualified vendors, sign up is free. Buy Bermuda is an online market where Bermudians can sell their products and services and shoppers can find everything they need while shopping locally online. By choosing Buy Bermuda, you're making a difference, supporting local dreams with every purchase. Entrepreneurs, join Buy Bermuda today and let's celebrate Bermuda's vibrant community together. Your success story starts here.
My friends say vaping is cool and I should try it.
Everyone's doing it, it's just vapor, right?
But what's in the vapor? Vaping isn't harmless. It's a trap.
I'll say no to vaping.
Did you know vaping can cause lung damage, organ damage, addiction, and other health problems? Make the right choice. Stay vape free.
This is a message from the Department for National Drug Control. Say no to vaping.
Yes, honey, I feel great. And if you want to feel great too, tune into Rebel Kitchen on Channel 82 and I'll teach you how. Hey there, I'm Miss T and we are in the kitchen.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Okay, you ready to cook, Cindy?
Ready?
I'm here with my sous chef today, Amir Axe.
You gotta do it and do it right. So what we making today?
Want to learn how to prepare family meals, holiday feasts, and dinner for two?
And my sous chef for today, Pat.
Tune into Channel 82 for new episodes of In the Kitchen with Miss T.
Actually, this is my first time at Cup Match, and I haven't watched anything. When I came here, I right away went to Bermuda. I've been playing, however, I lost. I came with my 500, but as I talk now, I have only $50 remaining. I didn't watch the game. I've been busy with the betting. So yeah, that's what I can say. My name is Sylvia, working for Tokyo Sandwich Club. Thank you.
And welcome back. We're now joined by Kamal Levrock, one of the Cup Match heroes of this year's Classic 2024 for Somerset. Welcome, Kamal.
Thanks for having me.
Well, what a Cup Match. I mean, going into Cup Match, for the past few years you've played with Somerset. You've been one of the anticipated players that the crowd or the audience or the fans look forward to seeing you come back and play. But this year you came back and you're sort of under the radar when it came to the hype around Cup Match. Did it feel a little bit different for you this year?
Not necessarily. I think everyone focuses on my bowling, which is what really excites them. Obviously, I haven't really batted in Cup Match where I've had to really excite the crowd or the chance to really excite the crowd. So I think that part of the game is going under the radar and everyone's just looking for me to bowl fast.
Now, when obviously was rumors first about Chris not being able to again pick for Somerset, and then it actually happened when the team got picked. What was your mindset prior to the team being picked? Was there any talks that you might have to come up the order, or was it something that those plans were done after the fact the team was picked?
Luckily, I'd known Frey for a very long time, and I know the type of mind games he likes to play. So when I showed up to the trial, he asked me to bat number 3. So from then, I understood that he was looking to see if I had the capacity to, or if I was switched on to bat long. So after I did bat long in the trial, I knew I had an idea that if they did drop Chris, I would probably have to go up the top. And then, Jeff had a conversation with me briefly in training on the Tuesday and asked me if I wanted to do it. So I obviously said yes.
It's amazing you said that because I sat on the porch at the trial match with Janara Tucker. I said I only came up here to see if Bungie could bet an hour. I didn't care how many runs you made, just to see if you hang around for an hour because of your aggression. And I mentioned it a few times in the broadcast. That was probably the best innings I've ever seen you play here locally and what I've seen in foreign. But also, I used the term controlled aggression because you took advantage of anything that's loose, but you always came back and you was composed about it. In saying that when that day that you walked out, because that is something that I tell anybody, the first day of Cup Match, that first ball, to hear the crowd, I'm pretty sure nerves, everybody you had to be excited walking out because that partnership between Chris and Taryn has been so historic over the years. You to come in and you hear that crowd, I mean, that had to excite you.
Yeah, it's always exciting no matter what I do in Cup Match, whether I'm bowling the first ball or now out there, facing it or watching Taryn face it. It's always exciting. Obviously it was a new experience being out there facing it or watching Taryn face it. So I think I was kind of so hyper focused that I didn't really hear anything out there for the whole time I was batting. So I think I had little parts where I kind of shut off my brain a bit to take in the atmosphere, but otherwise than that I was kind of just hyper focused on batting and batting as long as I can.
Now, I'm pretty sure it helped that I'm gonna see like Terrence still the first couple of overs. He really got a touch of the ball.
Yeah, like I said, I've known Taryn for a long time, so he always, if he has the experience, he's gonna try and make the inexperienced guy feel comfortable, and that's probably what his plan all along, to make sure I got a chance to just sit out, watch the pitch, see what was going on, and get into my own game.
Let's talk about 50, your first 50. Sean had mentioned it. We hadn't seen somebody score 50 like that early. That quickly. But it wasn't nothing out of the ordinary either for you, because it was shots that were there to be taken. We felt at the time that the bowling was a bit loose. You took advantage of it. How did you feel getting up to 50?
I was actually all right. Like I said, I was very hyper focused, so I didn't actually realize I was close to 50 until I saw on the board that I was on 46. My whole plan while I was there was just to bat long, because I knew that I have the ability to turn a good ball into a bad ball, which is kind of a gift and a curse sometimes, as you know. But because I know that, my opponents also know that, which in turn they can't really settle into a length, because I could take them off the length. So that's why sometimes bowling seems a bit loose to me, because everyone's trying to make sure they have to bowl that perfect ball, because I've tried so hard over the years, or practiced so much over the years hitting good balls as well. So that's probably why it seemed a bit loose, the bowling, but I know that's why it seemed a bit loose, because they just wanted to bowl that perfect ball to me. Everyone that came on wanted to bowl the perfect ball to make sure I couldn't hit them for a boundary.
Let's take a look at your last shot going into 50.
Over the wicket to the left-hander Leverock. He delivers a full toss, and Leverock.
Well, there you go. One of those loose balls.
Yeah.
You straight cut it. Get that 50 and see him run with everybody coming around the field. What that meant to you?
Yeah, it meant a lot. My mom's been waiting to do that for quite some time. She's my biggest fan and my biggest critic. So, every chance I get, I think most of my pressure that I feel on myself comes from her wanting to make her proud and make her happy. And I think the only thing that makes her proud is when she sees me succeed on the field, because she will tell anyone I'm her biggest investment. So
your grandmother used to do that with your uncle.
Yeah,
So
it's the same scenario.
Cycle.
Gotta make sure I give her a little bit of return on those investments. So these happy moments are what she lives for her returns.
Anything that stood out to you as far as getting up to your century, because obviously it's your first century. Anything stood out for you?
I think because it happened so fast, there was no real build up. What I'm used to seeing others, how they get the century, like, a lot of players, they take the time in the 80s and 90s, and it's a slow build up. And I think I got through the 80s and the 90s so fast that it was no real time to take in the atmosphere. And I think also a lot of the fans hadn't noticed that I was actually on 100 until everyone started running out on the field. So I think probably the next time, I get a chance to do that, I'll probably like to soak it in a little bit more, take my time and go through the emotion of it.
How do you prepare for cup match? Talk to us about the week leading up to the match, and even the day before the match. What does preparation for you for a cup match look like?
For me, mainly, it's just body conditioning. I try and make sure my body's hydrated. Try to make sure, because you lose a lot during even the first hour cup match, you could lose a lot, and you can't put in faster than you lose. So I just try to make sure I'm really, really hydrated, make sure I'm no alcohol during the week, or try and limit as much alcohol, because obviously, just the atmosphere up at, or go to Camden, you have a little swizzle or something, but I try to make sure I drink as least alcohol as I can, hydrate myself, get my electrolytes in, make sure my body's nice and conditioned, run or two, but don't overdo it, stretch, but mainly rest, a lot of rest. I try to stay seated and lay down and watch TV for as long as I can during that week, just to make sure that when I do go on the field, I'm fully rested, I'm fully hydrated, and I could, put on a good show for Bermuda.
Any rituals, superstitious rituals that lead you up to the game? We've heard all kinds of stories about strange habits or rituals that play
Nah,
leading up to the.
I used to have one, but I think as I get older, I kind of have to let that one go, and I've actually now let it go. So, it's might be too much for TV, but but now I just relax. I think what really helped me this year, like I've noticed that I'm more of a solitude guy before games. I like to just be alone, sit around, watch TV, go on my phone, watch some TikToks or Instagram reels or something like that, and just be in silence. I noticed that when I go on tour with Bermuda or previous cup matches, you have your roommate, so it's quite hard to be in solitude in that aspect. So I think this year, Somerset provided everyone with their own room. I think that was what really, really helped me a lot. I could go through that ritual of being in solitude and relaxing and just being by myself.
Story about this bet now, because they tell me, obviously, I watched your social media page claim that you retired this bet, but then your mom spoke about this bet, had you had to do some reconstruction for this bet, for this match.
Yeah, that bet has broken. Well, this is the 4th time, so 3 times before cup match. I gave it to O'Brien Morrissey. He knew a guy. He said, I know a guy that could fix it. So the bottom of the bat had 4 wood nails, and as you can see, it has a lot of tape as well.
Yeah.
So I knew once it ran again, that would be the end of it. So I went to training week before last, and Jamal built me a Yorker, and that was the end. So I said, I've had the bat for a very long time. I think I had it for about 2 years now. So
now, was somebody who, nowadays guys go through bets like water. What was so special about this bet?
That bat is the bat I scored Bermuda's first T20 with. So from then I said, until it breaks, I would never put it down. So now I've had to put it down. A bit sad, but I'm working through some new bats to try and figure out what's my favorite. So hopefully I find something fast.
So coming up on 150. Well, even before that, the record-breaking Century Partnership, the quickest. Once again, Sean's been around a long time, but we could not remember if anybody have an open partnership of 100 runs before lunch. What was that talk with you and Taryn in the middle? Because was it any talk of that, or was just mainly just in the moment?
Not at all. Taryn and I don't even talk about cricket in the middle, actually. We kind of like try and take in the sights around the field, see where certain people's camps are, and just see what's going on. Because if you in that atmosphere, if you make it too tense and you're hyper focused on what's going on and what's happening in the pitch and who's bowling next, you kind of tend to overthink it. You need to have a very, very clear mind when it comes to cup match, especially with sometimes abuse is being hurled from the side and the players are getting around you. It's 11 against 2 out there. So, come in the middle, between overs, crack a joke, look for whoever's in the crowd, find your mom, find your granny, just have some fun.
Once you got to 150, anything about that 186 came into mind?
Not really. I was too busy fighting cramp, to be honest.
Okay.
Everyone said, why didn't you go for the record? I don't think I got out on purpose. So, but I honestly, like I said earlier, you could put in so much water, you could put in so much electrolytes, but you lose a lot more than you put in, and fast in cup match. You know, it's like an oven in the middle before the scaffolding. Around you, you don't get any breeze. Everyone's running electricity, so it just adds to the heat. So I actually was getting cramp in both hamstrings, both my arms, and my back. So from there, when I got to 150, I was like, well, if I want to go from her, I have to just fire. Yeah, I just have to swing, and if it comes off, it comes off. If it don't, it don't. But at the same time, be proud of the innings that you've played already.
I'm gonna throw out a couple of names, and I just want you to just tell me what your first thing that comes to mind. First of all, Jeff Richardson.
I think he's an excellent man manager. If you look at some of the personalities you have in the Somerset Cup match team, and over the past 12 years he's done it, we've had some very, very bold personalities, and it takes a lot of man managing to make sure you keep those guys calm and keep them as a unit. So you had some strong heads, like, you know, Gennaro was still playing. It's a strong head. I think he had Deontay for a year. That's another strong head, very, very strong head. You got Deon Stubble, who's a winner, and he wants to win, and he wants to make sure everything is going accordingly. You know, you have Chris Douglas. Everyone thinks he's kind of a loose cannon, but he's just misunderstood. But Jeff understood him. So I think that part of it, him being a man manager, is the actual key to the success of the Somerset team in the last 12 years. Without a good man manager, I don't think that team gels as much.
So in his absence, do you see there being that dynamic role that he plays with him stepping down? Where do you see the team going now?
I think the next coach, whoever it is, well, I think we know who it will be. He's good of a man manager as well. But again, he's obviously a strong head too. So it's only one way to find out. But I think he'll be good as far as man managing. As long as he keeps his cool head. And I think as he gets old, his head's getting a bit cooler and cooler. So I think he'll be all right.
Would I be speaking out of turn if I was to say that, you know, for all the trainings I've seen, is that whatever new face comes up at Somerset, they'll conform to the system up there. There's basically a system. Would you agree?
Yeah, when you have a winning program, I think it's easier to buy into it. It's very, very easy to buy into it. So, you know, when a team's winning, no matter what sport, or even when it's a single person sport, golf, you know, tennis, you watch what's going on, you watch what they do because they're winning, and you pretty much try and emulate it. So when you know, people come up to Somerset, a lot of people that come to Somerset Cup match trials or Somerset Cup match training, they know that it's a long shot that they will get in. But because the structure is so strong, that they're still willing to come up and participate in it anyways, because it almost becomes an honor to help, you know, help maintain the standards in training and get yourself up to it, because from there, they take that back to the clubs.
You mentioned Deon Stubble. Talk to me more about Deon, because obviously this year's MVP, but it could have been either you or him.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we even had a split up in our camp, right? But talk more about Deon, because, you know, we've heard Offset has been our top all-rounder probably for the last 5-6 years. Give us a little bit of story about Deon.
Deon's just a winner. He's a competitor. If you sit down and talk to him, he'll only ever talk about winning and what it takes to win. Sometimes his delivery is a bit too strong for certain people, but you know where he's coming from. And no matter who he's playing for, he thinks that there is a possibility that there is gonna him winning the game. You know, so I think what people have to do with him is feed off that energy. He's a winner, so that should make me a winner as well, no matter who he's playing for. If he's playing for Cleveland, he's playing for Rangers, no matter who he's playing with, you could give Deon 10 Kearns to play with. He would think he could win. any cricket match, any football match. I look up to him tremendously for that reason. You know, I think no matter who I play with, I think I could win. That's what that mentality is about. Just making sure, doing anything you can to win. For a couple games ago, we were playing 50 overs. Cleveland struggling to stay up in 50 over. Western Stars, I was on loan at Western Stars. It was like one of the last 50 over games. They needed to make sure, they were staying up, Cleveland staying up. Maury Mandis was going at a rate to chase a score, and I knew, I wanted to shout out, just please stay in your crease. Jim Murray wandered out, stubble, but that's his mentality.
Yeah.
Anything it takes to win. So I love that.
Derek Bregman.
Derek, there's not much to say about Derek. Derek just kind of floats around the field. He doesn't look like he's in the game at all, but you just throw him the ball and he just makes things happen. You saw it in you can see it in Connie games when he plays Connie for Bay. They actually, you could tell that they've missed him over the years.
Yeah.
You just throw him the ball and he makes things happen, no matter what he builds. Everyone knows what he builds, and somehow he still finds a way to get wickets. I just honestly don't understand it, but it's just when you're good, I guess.
You being now probably good next year, probably one of the old guys now, one of the veterans in the side. Talk about some of the young guys. Who are you excited? Some of the young players you're excited. Either team, both teams actually.
I'm actually, from Somerset wise, I'm actually excited about Dominic Sabir. I think he's going to be a good all-rounder. I think what he experienced in Cup match has not more so humbled him, but it has put him on the right path to know where he has to be, especially if he wants to progress and be a professional cricketer. I know he has aspirations to do that. So I think it's now hunkered him down, and I could see when we play league cricket how his attitude is fully locked into cricket. So I'm very, very excited to see what he does. Obviously, we know Jamal. I don't know. I get very angry with him sometimes. He's far too laid back, far too laid back. But the talent is unbelievable with him. So hopefully he could maintain his talent, but he needs to put some work ethic on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as some Somerset again, Antonio Darrow is a very, very complete all-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Complete all-rounder, bats, bowls, fields. And I think, majority of the people at Somerset like the look of him. So I don't think he's too far off. St. George's wise, I think a lot of the youngsters that played this year are some of the best youngsters the island has to offer, which is bright for St. George's Cup match future. But I also think, some of the players that they didn't play as well are very, very, very good options. Luke Corrins, Zarai Tomlinson's. I think Zarai Tomlinson has some of the best technique for under 19 I've seen in a very long time. So I'm very, very excited to see what he does. And I think he's gonna be the next Bermuda pro for sure.
We're talking with Kamal Levrock, one of the heroes of Cup Match 2024.
Everything we paid for, this is what we slave for, yeah. Anytime we need call, we don't be girl, but we be from bad. Liquid pride, when we be
is cool and I should try it.
Everyone's doing it. It's just vapor, right?
But what's in the vapor? Vaping isn't harmless. It's a trap.
I'll say no to vaping.
Did you know vaping can cause lung damage, organ damage, addiction, and other health problems? Make the right choice. Stay vape free.
This is a message from the Department for National Drug Control. Say no to vaping.
Hey Bermudian entrepreneurs, discover the simplicity of showcasing your products and services and get your business online and in front of virtual shoppers today. Use Buy Bermuda. For qualified vendors, sign up is free. Buy Bermuda is an online market where Bermudians can sell their products and services and shoppers can find everything they need while shopping locally online. By choosing Buy Bermuda, you're making a difference, supporting local dreams with every purchase. Entrepreneurs, join Buy Bermuda today and let's celebrate Bermuda's vibrant community together. Your success story starts here.
Hello, beautiful people. Hi.
Want to become a rebel in the kitchen?
Happy holidays. I am Shayla, aka The Holistic Rebel. And look out for my show on channel 82, Bravo Kitchen.
Only on channel 82, where Bermuda shines through.
Second day, I don't know who will win, but yes, doesn't matter like who will win, but it's not cricket, it's a game of love. Yeah?
Seven months after emancipation in Bermuda, a slave ship called the Enterprise was traveling from Virginia to South Carolina, and it gets caught up in a storm, ends up in Bermuda's waters. When the Bermuda Customs ship goes out to investigate, the Captain Elliot Smith, gives them a fraudulent manifest. It doesn't list any enslaved people on board, but they can tell by the conditions that there are. And when they search, they find 78 men, women, and children in chains. Some of the children were younger than 6 years old. Because slavery had been abolished here, now this ship has broken the law. So the customs ship calls the Royal Navy and they bring a gunboat and they force the ship to come here to Bars Bay Park. Richard Tucker was the founder of the Hamilton Friendly Society, the first lodge created for and by Black Bermudians. Now this is a man operating in a society where slavery had only just been abolished 7 months prior, but yet he knows to file legal action in the Supreme Court. He files a writ of habeas corpus, which is served on the captain of the ship, which means he has to present all of the enslaved people to the Supreme Court. So here they come ashore on February 18th. They take their first steps to freedom right here at Bars Bay Park, where crowds have gathered to welcome them, to greet them. The court case starts at 9 p.m. and the Chief Justice interviews each person, asking them one by one if they want to stay in Bermuda and be free or continue with the ship and be enslaved. The energy in the courtroom is described as beyond joyous, beyond wonderment, as 72 of the 78 choose to stay in Bermuda. A spontaneous collection is taken up for them, about 70 pounds, the equivalent of $2,000 in today's money, to welcome these new Bermudians to their new home. The 6 people that chose to stay with the ship was a woman, Matilda Ridgely, and her 5 children. Throughout the proceedings, the court proceedings, we discovered that a number of the people had actually been free and were being kidnapped and sold into slavery. And that was the case for Miss Ridgely. So she was hoping, we believe, to reunite with her family in the United States. But sadly, there's no record of her after she left Bermuda. But of the other 72, the people that chose that day to stay in Bermuda, to become Bermudians, they are a part of our emancipation celebrations as well, as we celebrate freedom here in Bermuda.
Welcome back. Now we have the coach of St. George's Cricket Club, Clay Smith. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, man. Nice to be here.
So 2 days, hot sun. What are 2 days we had? But let's go back a bit. The lead up to your cup match campaign this year. 7 changes. What was the thought behind the changes going into this year's classic?
Well, some of them were pretty much forced upon us. Others, people had basically earned the right to play cup match. You know, we had a couple of players that really had good seasons and deserved to play. So, I mean, those were pretty much the reasons behind the changes that we had, you know.
Obviously, with the Colts coming in, that actually brought some good energy leading up to the game. As you sit back now, obviously hindsight is 2020, but sitting back now and looking at what the Colts done for the match, what was your not only expectations, but what do you think was the outcome?
Well, whenever you bring Colts into a classic, especially away from him, you're really hoping that they can just show up on the day, you know. And it's we know it's a tall order, but we had some very good Colts this year, you know, and it's not and what I have to say is not just about this year, it's also planning for the future, you know. Like I said from the beginning when I took over the coaching stint down St. George's that I had a 5-year plan. You know, we're 3 years into that plan pretty much. So it's about growth and giving them the exposure so that over the next year or two that we can actually win this trophy and bring it back home where it belongs.
Looking at the changes that you made, 7 was a bold move. In hindsight, you still think that you made the right?
I'll tell you what.
Would you do it all over again?
No, I wouldn't. That team that we picked was the best team that we could possibly pick. I have no quarrels whatsoever about the team. If somebody told me that result was going to happen with that team, I would have told them, no, it's impossible. Because going into that cup match, we had a very strong team. Pretty much every player had been in good nick. From a batting point of view, our bowlers were bowling well. You know, I would not change that team, not at all. I mean, the only boy up until even then, the boy Luke Horn had a good season. He may have been one change that we probably, if you're looking at our team and saying, well, we need another bowler, he would have probably been the only player that we could have actually included in that team that would have been different. But other than that, I think that team was a very good team.
The reality is that St. George have a very promising a set of young people, right? And we often talk about how cup matches in cycles, and you know there was a time at 20 years back in the leading up to 1979 when St. George held the cup, and then Somerset won, and you know it goes in cycles. And so St. George's are now in the position with these young players that they're building up to do that again, you know? That's the hope. Obviously, that's your goal.
Yes, that is the hope. I mean, you look at guys like Jared and Marcus, you know, and Zaria out there. We also have boys on the outside looking to come in like Luke Horan and Zarai Tomlinson. These guys are talking about between like 17 and 21, 22 years old. So once they do come in, once we do get this trophy back, again, just like Somerset, we'll be looking to keep it for at least 10 to 15 years. You know, that's the goal, the aim of it, you know. So it's a sacrifice for now, but it's seeing down the road, seeing what's to come.
And so, in spite of what happened this year, you're not concerned. You're not concerned.
Yeah, a little bit concerned. A little bit. You have to be concerned because at the magnitude of the loss, you know, you have to be concerned. But what I take most from this cup match is that the games played on the field on that particular day, you know, and my main concern from it all is the players' mental capacity of the difference between a league game and a cup match. Being able to play in front of a big crowd away from home, will it be a difference? It wasn't a difference last year when we was at home. We still took the same loss. So being whether at home or not, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just the aspect of playing in front of a huge crowd on that day. Some players love it. Some players buckle under that pressure. And the more they play in their circumstances, the better they're gonna get. And that's our hope. You know, they get accustomed to it. Yeah, because it's more of a psychological thing than anything. Talent-wise, you can't tell me that St. George's were not just as talented as Somerset. Nobody could tell me that.
I definitely agree with you. The mental side of that's probably something that's probably, I won't say lacking, but it's noticeable because you're looking at Orlando Bass could probably be the last successful player who's seen a St. George's victory.
Mm.
So you've got a lot of players who've never tasted that success cup match. Like you said, you guys been very, very successful in the league. And whether it's 2020, whether it's a longer format of the game, but cup match, it's a different beast. Prior to this year, the last few cup matches, catches has been one of the biggest problems. Well, this year, that dropped, I mean, I could say, no pun intended, but that dropped down a bit from 5 to 1.
Yeah.
But it was a big catch, you know? And I tell you, a lot of times I look at body language.
Yeah.
I look at body language. That tells me a lot what's going on, what time of the day. And when Terran Frey got dropped early, I wouldn't say it took steam up because it was still early in the match.
Mm-hmm.
But to go for the next 2 hours toiling as they went on to, first wicket partnership, which you know all about.
Like 150, something like that.
Yeah, they've come out making a century before lunch. I mean, that's something as a coach. I'm pretty sure you guys threw everything at the kitchen sink, but the kitchen sink. As far as trying to bring your players, what do you do to motivate those guys when they get into lunch? Because, that's their first break, really.
Yeah, well, actually, we had a water break.
Well, even the water break.
Yeah, we had a water break or two, and I was going out there and I was telling them, listen, let's just work hard to try and get 1 wicket, because as we know in cricket, you get 1, you normally get 2. And for the most part, I still felt we were in the game because my players some of them were very upbeat. You know what I mean? They were upbeat, trying to stay motivated. It's a struggle. It's really a struggle, especially up at Somerset, because we know that Somerset is a flat track. So every catch that comes your way, you really have to take it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If not, and at that level, when you're dealing with quality batsmen is going to make you pay. So you have to hold on to your catches. If not, you could be out there for hours and hours like we were, toiling, trying to get 1 wicket. But as a coach, all I can do is continue to keep them focused, continue to motivate them, continue to tell them, let's stick to the game plan. I think we went off script from our game plan a little bit, especially with Kamal. But that happens, when we're out there, people see different things from their eyes, and they make decisions that they feel is right at the particular time, But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
So Somerset posting 345. You guys get into bed. What was the message for the players then?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I'm a winner. I believe in trying to win the game no matter what. And my first priority was, listen, let's get to within the 100-run deficit. Mm-hmm. Let's get to 250, depending on what time it is. If we have time to keep betting on, we bet on. If not, we declare on 250 and put Somerset right back into bat. That was our goal, to get Somerset back into bat as soon as possible so that we can have a chance to win it on the second day, regardless of what, But again, as you know, that didn't happen.
That first innings, Azari painted 35, Marcus Scotland 30. I think played a very, very mature inning, especially late on in the first day,
mm-hmm.
to stall Somerset, because they were going into that last session. They were trying to,
Yeah.
They're coming at you.
They were.
But how hard it is for that youngster to keep all day, then that late afternoon, and then come right back out the next morning.
It was tough, actually. It was very tough. Hence the reason why, if you notice on the second day, we actually ended up letting Jared wicketkeeper, because the report from the trainer was, if we don't have to let him keep, don't let him keep, because he was cramping up and everything. We had ice baths, we done everything we could to give him as much recovery time as possible. But yeah, it was a tough ask. It was a tough ask, and to be quite honest with you, I asked him a few times. Said, "Are you sure you can do it?" He says, "Let me go. I want to open bat." So he was gung-ho to do the job. That's just him. He loves to open bat. So because we had other players in the team that could have done the job if needed be, but he was adamant that he wanted to steal open bat. So I backed him 100%.
I'm glad you answered that question for me, because that was something that came up, saying, well, they're talking 4 openers. Could they have switched around the batting order to give him some rest?
Yeah, we could have. And we was willing to do that for him to get some rest, but he was adamant, I want to open bat, let me go. So I said, okay, no problem. Go ahead, do what you got to do, mate. I back you. And, he went out there and made a good account of himself.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Dion Stovall. I'll leave it at you. What do you think about Dion Stovall? Because it is one of those players. We could go on. And I think we had a conversation on radio prior to the match, and talking about certain players. But Dion Stovall, once again, I'm lost for words. I mean, from the opponent on the other side, sitting on the side.
Good player, a good friend of mine's. I played under him. He's played under me, I should say.
Yeah.
Down at Cleveland. So I know him quite well. Good player, a winner, diehard, loves to win. But when it comes to cup match, we talked about batting him on off stump. But again, we talked about different little strategies of how to work him. But again, when it comes to little things like that, players have to have the confidence to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
The pitch actually suited him. I thought he done well, because if you look at Dion, he actually extracted more turn out of the wicket than any of the other spinners on both teams. And it was a matter of trying to find the pace to bowl at, and he found the right pace to bowl at that gave him the extra turn. And it made it tough. It made it tough for us. And he was just consistently nagging. Yeah. You have to respect. You have to take your head off and respect him. It was his day.
That was something we had mentioned in the broadcast, the difference between him and Delray. Delray was very quick, very flat, and wasn't given the opportunity to bowl to even move as much as he could have gotten. Where Dion had, like you said, had found the pace to actually, when he wanted to, get some good grip and get some good rip out of it. But that's something that obviously going back, and you take that information back to your team.
Yeah, but even that, you got to be very strategic, right? Because Delray is building a totally different line from Dion. Delray is building a more center and off line, where Dion's building outside off stump. So there's a whole different area of surface that they're aiming at and getting more turn. So that also has to be taken into consideration. Yeah.
Coming to that, when you look at Dion and Derek, and not just Dion and Derek, but we locally, we're having so much trouble with spin bowling, as you know. I mean, our national team, going forward, and as a coach, and I just want you to put your coaches, not even the national coaches, hat on, going forward. What is the way out of this? Because we see it as a detriment in almost every match. If somebody has a decent spinner, our teams are struggling.
It's something that's struggled nationally for years. And, it's about practice. It's about practicing and practicing and practicing and understanding having an objective, how you want to play spin. I mean, I remember back in the day, I used to, same way when I used to go cup match, I used to struggle a little bit with slugger, meaning left arm spin, turn away. I could bat him, I can defend against him, but anytime I try to score an aggressive one, I would struggle until I had a guy, Daryl Cullen, I don't know if you remember, South Africa. He took me up Police Field one day, and for 2 sessions in a row, for about an hour, all we did was skip down and hit over the top, over off stump, over extra cover. And we did that for like 2 days, 2 sessions in a row. And after that, the slugger never bothered me again after that. I had no problem with him whatsoever. I say that to say this. The Monday and the Tuesday before cup match, we knew Derek Mangman was going to give Jonte some trouble. So what did me and Jonte do? We got a building machine. We went down there, we built it the similar style that Derek builds. And I said, listen, you got to be more attacking minded, because he was in the stage where he just looking to survive. And 50 of us, but I said, you can't just let him hit the same spot. You have to be more attacking minded, and but it's controlled aggression. So for 2 days, a Monday and a Tuesday, we went down St. George Cricket Club with the building machine, and we started working specifically on that, advancing down the wicket and hitting straight back over the head. Come cup match, what happened? He worked. First day, got a good ball from Dion early. Second day, it came to fruition where he hit the same thing we had been practicing, he was able to execute a lot better. And it did. So it just goes to show that it takes a lot of hard work, and it's something that if guys are serious about it, they have to practice. They have to practice advancing, moving the feet to the ball, because these guys, you cannot let good bowlers just bowl and hit one spot all day, because they will do that. So you have to figure out, how can I score off a guy's good balls? And that's what we have to do. You have to have confidence in yourself and back yourself.
Posting that 110 in the first innings, obviously the murmur, the rumors going around the field, and probably all the expectations going around the field that Sumser was about to send you guys back in. When they made the decision to not send you guys back in, what were you expecting, really? Because I mean, that was something probably yourself personally you might have said.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. But I also knew that next hour or two, they were going to come at us hard.
Yeah.
They were going to come at us hard, and we just had to be strategically execute our game plan. Just build good lines and good links. You know what I mean? And let them make the mistakes. And if you look at it, they didn't. I don't think they executed that morning the way they would like to have done so. Because they would have scored a lot more runs. They would have probably put 500 on the board. But I thought we done well that morning to restrict them to what we restricted them to.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Terran Frey, just short of a half century, Kamal Levra, 26, even Trey, 27, that top half has been obviously what's dominated the last few cup matches. Your mention of Chris Douglas, and then putting Kamal up top, was that obviously you guys would have planned for that some way, somehow?
Somewhat. It's somewhat, but we also somewhat didn't expect it because being a left-hander, we figured they may still try to put him in the middle just to have some balance in that middle bottom. Yeah, it was interesting because, and that's probably part of the reason why we opted to go with Taryn at the beginning. I mean, the left-arm spinner at the beginning instead of Luke Fulton, right?
Yes.
Because we were expecting two right-handers, but then even with Taryn opening batting, we know sometimes if you can get these guys early against spin, so we wanted to go at them early, and we had the opportunity. And that's one thing people keep harping about. You brought a pacer in, but you didn't bowl him right away. Yes, we did, but we also went to a spinner who had an option, who had an opportunity to get a wicket first, and that's what people you can't deny that. You know what I mean? If we take that catch, some sort of 1-for-1 is a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? But you can't cry over spilled milk. That's part of the game. That's part of the game. At the end of the day, they batted well, and after that, for the next hour, I think we just built poorly. If you ask me, we built poorly. Our lines were just not consistent enough.
One highlight of their second innings was Mackay Simmons' innings. Speak on that.
Mackay Simmons. What can I say? This is a guy who last year he did it. He came back this year, and he did it again. And it all comes down to hard work. He's a coach's dream. I'll be honest with you. Some guys love to train, and he's a guy that works hard at his craft, and he deserved what he got because he worked hard. My president put in place a few things this year, a few different things that we wanted to try. And one thing was, we got access to the gym over St. David's for all the players, for all 25-hour players. Him and Jonte, and I mean my captain, these guys were religiously putting their work in, you know what I mean? And that was one thing that I spoke to the players afterwards. I said the two players that put the most work in, the preparation, were the two most successful batsmen on the day. Because it shows you when you work hard, when you put your work in, you get your rewards, you get your just rewards. And it's just a matter of one day we have to get everybody on the same page. I don't think we have everybody on the same page. We're not collectively working hard enough as a unit. We have individuals that are working, but not a unit working. And until we get that whole unit, it's gonna be tough.
And so, what do you think it will take at that point?
Self-pride, and frustration. These guys, like I told the guys afterwards, you should be. As a coach, I'm embarrassed. As players, I don't know if they really understand the magnitude, if they hurt as much as I hurt. They have to. If you don't hurt, and you're not embarrassed by what happened over last year, you shouldn't be playing cup match. I'll be honest with you, you should not be playing cup match because that means you don't have that deep passion and love that's required. Like I take this stuff, I take this to heart. Like when I'm at work, I'm thinking cup match. I'm thinking, how do I get some of these players out? I'm planning. I don't think our players are passionate enough collectively. We have individuals that do it from time to time, but it's going to take a much bigger picture, that bigger effort than that. I don't have the answer. That has to be, each player has to look within themselves and say, I'm sick and tired of this. What am I going to do different? And they have to be willing to do something different in terms of going that extra yard. But it's about we tried to get them collectively to do it as a team. So now we have to find a different avenue. It's something that we will sit down and we will look back at it and say, well, how can we now get these guys together? If they're not going to do it on their own, then we have to do it. If I have to have an actual training session or whatever, specifically just focusing on mental toughness or whatever the case may be, or if it's fitness, whatever it is, whatever it is we have to do. We have to do more things. If it means doing more things collectively as a team. And that's the hardest thing about the cup match, because going into cup match, you're talking about 25, 30 players. You only get your 11 players that are 11 and your reserves for 3 days to really work with. And one of those days we'll go down at the Camden House. So yeah, 1 day of training, then the next day again preparation, literally going into the hotel, getting ready to play cup matches. It's you don't have no time with the 11 players that you have. It's tough.
Yeah, that was something that I heard some, leading up to this cup match, is having that break. And that was, for me, I thought more of the international games when you look at the NFL, the NBA, breaking between being a team being selected and giving the chance a team to gel and, practice and stuff. But the way traditionally we have our trials and then it's cup match the following week.
Yeah.
And, when we start talking about moving around schedules and the leagues and all this, going forward, and I'm just thinking going forward, obviously the last few years you've been making at least 5 to 6 changes. Obviously, you're probably going to go back to the drawing board again, and won't be surprised to be another 4 or 5. But in saying that,
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Right?
It should not be. It should not be.
Young players.
This team here, I've looked at this team. If we make 1, 2 changes at the very most, if that should be it, because this is the nucleus of the team that we have to figure out that this is the team that's going to take us into the next generation. Bottom line, this is the team. Like I said, with the exception of 1 or 2, some guys might have a very good season and deserve and earn their place. But other than that, these are the players that are going to take St. George's into the next generation.
What do you tell that player who didn't make it this year, or tell that player who wants to play for St. George's? As a coach, what are you looking for them?
To do something special, to do something over and beyond, because this team should not change, like I said, unless there's somebody out there that does something exceptionally good in the season. And I'm talking about not just mediocre, because mediocre is not good enough. These guys have to come and have some very good seasons. So it means working that much harder, getting themselves in that much more condition, and not giving us as selectors no option but to pick them because they perform that well.
Over the course of the season.
Over the course of the season, yeah. Over the course of the season.
And it doesn't come down to the final trial.
No. Because by the time you get to the final trial, technically, you should have at least 10 out of the 11 players picked already, and you're hoping that there's somebody that does something exceptionally well in that final trial, But yeah, this year we had 3 trials. So it wasn't like we just had 1 trial. We actually ended up having 3 trials. But that's something also that we have to look at, the quality of the trials that we have, because we're expecting to play against, you go down to St. Davis thinking they're getting ready for Connie Cup, but then they have half of the players there. So we're giving them half of our team to strengthen the team, but then they still don't have a real solid team. But I mean, it's difficult, it's just difficult, but yeah.
I know you have been in the news prior to cup match and regarding the league as far as the format, but just looking at the league leading up to cup match, especially the short form of the game, as cup match is obviously a hybrid, a longer version of the game, how can we prepare our players better for the cup match? It's sort of hard when we're not playing that format, especially when you're asking them to play basically a 2-day match, which should be, over 4 days.
Right. So that was why I personally vouch for 2 rounds of 50 overs so that we can play more 50 over games leading up to cup match. And the board did actually do that this year. Last year, it was a little bit different. We ended up playing a lot of T20, which was, didn't help at all. But hopefully the board stick to the format that they have right now, where they have 2 rounds of 50 overs. And if that's the case, then we'll see players in a lot better form going into cup match, because they're playing somewhat of the longer version of cricket. But again, we still need that open cricket where we have some trial matches, you know what I mean, just so that we can get bowlers bowling longer, batting longer, and playing that longer format.
Any parting words for anyone who has any criticism about the choice or the performance of your team? Any words of encouragement for your fans for who are looking forward to 2025, and to let them know that the best is yet to come?
Yeah, anybody that knows me knows I'm a very positive thinking person. So what happened, happened. I can't change what happened, but I can plan for the future and tell you that the future is definitely going to be different, and it's definitely going to be a lot brighter for St. George's. So stick with us. Good things are just around the corner, and just tell my players, you know, let's get it on. Let's make sure we come back even that much stronger next year, and be willing to work even harder, because it's not taking that trophy from Somerset is not an easy task, and it's not going to be an easy task. But once we do it, then we're going to do it, and we're going to do it for a long time. So it's just a matter of, you know, having that right mind, right frame of mind. Ability-wise, I don't have no doubt where my players are. I know my players are ability-wise. They're good enough. But it's just getting that frame of mind, getting their mind right.
Thank you very much. We've been talking to Clay Smith, the coach of St. George's Cricket Club, talking about Cup Match 2024 on Channel 82. We'll be right back with our Cup Match Highlight Show. We'll be right back.
What is your message to Team Somerset for today?
Somerset, you got this. Don't even worry about St. George's. Like, we got this. We got the cup. We're keeping the cup.
Please tell me your team, St. George's.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to tell St. George's, just stay blessed and highly flavored. You understand what I'm talking about? Because we're here right now, baby. Cup match 2019.
We were going to red, so you got some bad friends around this place, honestly, because I'm for the opposite team. I support blue and blue. But you guys are enjoying yourselves right now? Yeah.
Right on your saddle.
It's all love and positivity here. So let me ask you something. Who is the winning team?
If anything, all I can say is that the cup's staying with Somerset.
Oh, so you think the cup's going to stay? Okay, we're going to see.
St. George's all the way.
St. George's all the way. This is a smart man. Thank you, Carlos.
No stop, and we up in a fret again. Up in a fret again.
Mary Prince Day. In 2020, Bermuda became the first country in the world to have a holiday named after a black woman. But who was Mary Prince? Born into slavery in Devonshire, Bermuda between 1785 and 1788, Mary was owned by a series of very cruel and sadistic people. She moved from Bermuda to Antigua to Turks Island and finally to England in 1828, where she met up with the Anti-Slavery Society. She convinced them to write down her story, and they published it in 1831. It became a galvanizing document for the abolition movement. It had to be reprinted 3 times in its first year alone. This book made it so that people could not look away from the true horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. In the book, Mary says, "This is slavery. I tell it to let people know the truth." So we honor Mary Prince every day, but especially on the day named after her as we celebrate our emancipation. Now Mary Prince is enslaved by the Ingham family, and there she receives harsh treatment almost daily. This continues with her next enslaver and the next, and then she ends up in England, where she, as I said, meets up with the Anti-Slavery Society, and they take down the story of her life. All slaves want to be free. To be free is very sweet. I have been a slave myself. I know what slaves feel. I can tell by myself what other slaves feel and by what they have told me. The man that says slaves be quite happy in slavery that they don't want to be free, that man is either ignorant or a lying person. I never heard a slave say so. This is slavery. I tell it to let English people know the truth, and I hope they will never leave off to pray God and call loud to the great King of England, to all the poor blacks be given free, and slavery done up forevermore.
Hey Bermudian entrepreneurs, discover the simplicity of showcasing your products and services and get your business online and in front of virtual shoppers today. Use Buy Bermuda. For qualified vendors, sign up is free. Buy Bermuda is an online market where Bermudians can sell their products and services and shoppers can find everything they need while shopping locally online. By choosing Buy Bermuda, you're making a difference, supporting local dreams with every purchase. Entrepreneurs, join Buy Bermuda today and let's celebrate Bermuda's vibrant community together. Your success story starts here.
My friends say vaping is cool and I should try it.
Everyone's doing it. It's just vapor, right?
But what's in the vapor? Vaping isn't harmless. It's a trap.
I'll say no to vaping.
Did you know vaping can cause lung damage, organ damage, addiction, and other health problems? Make the right choice. Stay vape free.
This is a message from the Department for National Drug Control. Say no to vaping.
Hey there, I'm Miss T, and we are in the kitchen.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Okay, you ready to cook, Cindy?
Ready?
I'm here with my sous chef today, Amir Axe.
You gotta do it and do it right. So what we making today?
Want to learn how to prepare family meals, holiday feasts, and dinner for two?
And my sous chef for today, Pat.
Tune into Channel 82 for new episodes of In the Kitchen with Miss T.
We're back talking with Kamal Levrock, coming off of a knock of 153 in Cup Match 2024. And we're talking about we're going to talk about what's up next for Kamal. So Kamal, coming up in 2 weeks' time, you're off to India.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'm off to the Legends League Cricket, T20. It's been running for about 3 years now. Obviously, you have to be a certain age. You have to be 30 and retired from international cricket. You know, a lot of people kind of were wondering why I retired.
So is that why you retired from cricket?
Yeah, just
be eligible for that?
Yeah, just to create another avenue to get into some of the big leagues and do some networking around because obviously playing for Bermuda, no matter what I've done, scoring runs, taking wickets, my average is not bad. My strike rate is like 150 in T20. So in any other country, you get opportunities with that.
So with this league, does that prevent you from coming back then to play international?
It doesn't prevent me from coming back,
playing with them.
but as long as I'm playing in the league, I have to be retired. So
okay.
I haven't completely ruled out playing international cricket again, but at this present moment, I'm not too fussed about it.
But it's a big opportunity for you.
Yes, it's a big major opportunity.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So we, as we know, cricket in India is like a religion. They're passionate about it. We know it with their international leagues and their. So you're there and you'll be there until when?
The final's scheduled for October 16th.
All right.
So I'd at least be there. If we don't get to the finals, which I'm hoping we will, I'll be there at least until the 13th of October.
And playing with the likes of Chris Gale and
Lendl Simmons, Jerome Taylor, some very, very good names, some guys I grew up watching.
If you were to look at international cricket now and had to create your Mount Rushmore, right, of international cricketers, your favorite 5 cricketers, who would be on there?
Is that current playing or anyone I've...
So let's do 2 of all time and current players. So let's do of current players right now. your Mount Rushmore, the top 5 current players anywhere in the world, who would be on that?
Current players, I'm obviously biased to left-handed people, so I like watching Ben Stokes. Left-hand is a similar player to me, so I'd say Ben Stokes. I'm a fan of Sri Lanka, so I like the look of Desa Nayaka. He's a nice player. Who else would choose? You know what? He's right-handed and he's keeper, but Smith that now plays for England.
Yes.
I think he is really good.
He is.
Who else would I say currently that I really enjoy watching? I'd say David Warner. I watch him and I try to emulate my game around him, how he opens the innings. One more, obviously, can't leave out Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right-handed, but still, it's lovely to watch.
Yes, he is. All right, so now let's look at of all time. And so you have the capacity with that to go back.
You're only gonna hear batsmen from me, I think, on this because a lot of people don't really know, but I was mainly a batsman when I was growing up. I never really was fussed with bowling.
Okay.
I only really paid attention to bowling when I was about 16.
Okay.
So when I played my first cup match, but I am obviously Brian Lara, Sanif Jayasuriya, Kumar Sangakkara, Matthew Hayden, Adam Gilchrist.
All right. That was easy for you.
Very easy.
All lefties.
All lefties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting.
What would you tell the young person, 12-year-old, who's loving the game, starting the game, at that age where now they might be identified as some potential, as we will say? What would be some advice for that person, not just for locally, but also abroad, to get into this fabulous game we call cricket?
For me, it was always what my uncle, my mom, and my dad told me. It was two
You
things.
people realize how good a batsman your daddy was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They try to get him to play for Bermuda. Yeah.
No, David was very good.
Yeah. It's a proper. When I go to Barbados, they always tell me he was the better one out of him and my uncle Alvin. So
Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But he just didn't really care.
He had a very unique action. He batted. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, great timing.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
timing.
Natural.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It tells me I'm a swiper all the time. What was the question again?
12-year-old.
Yes. Like I said, what they told me was you could be as talented as you want, but if you stop working hard, that's when hard work will beat you. Hard work will always beat your talent. So you are already at an advantage with your talent. So keep your advantage by working hard and putting that on top of your talent.
So let's talk about the end of the first innings. You guys had a commendable lead. Obviously, going around the whole field was the option of putting St. George's back into bat to try to achieve a 2-1, which you had been successful a few years earlier. What was the talk around the players and then the decision?
Well, before we went in, I think after we got about 2 wickets, the message came out to ask what we as players wanted to do. But no one really gave any input. We were just so focused on trying to get the last 3. Then we went inside. We had a quick chat. My input was that I think 245, although it was a decent lead, I think we needed to mentally pack the game away. So if any cricket I've played, 3-day cricket in England, even though you want to bat once most times, if a lead is under 300, it gives a little life to the other team. So you want to really pack the runs on. So getting to 400 would be mentally draining for St. George's, knowing that the game is that far out of reach. I think at 245, with all day to play, how the pitch was playing, if they could get off to a decent flyer and next thing you know, at tea, they have a little bit of a lead and they could fly away because it's a lot of cricket to be played, 3-hour sessions. I think I said we should probably protect the cup for Terran's sake. Obviously, it's his first year. So we need to do everything possible to make sure that Terran keeps the cup in his first year. And I think that was the best option for it.
Yeah, it was, when we just different talks with people, and I was saying Sumsit's always had this aggression since Jeff's been there. And for the most part, bet once. Let's bet them out of the game and let's go for it. Let's, not just beat them. Let's
yeah.
Let's do it convincingly. And then it was like, okay, this doesn't feel like, but now since you're saying it, this is basically brought on by the players to make sure that they wanted to protect.
Yeah. Obviously, some players wanted to go for a 2-1. I think a couple guys haven't been involved in one yet. So I think they obviously it was contrasting input, but in the end, we just went to not so much embarrass them, but to just knock them down a bit to make sure that if they want to come again next year, they have to make sure they come very, very hard.
Well, with that, I don't know how many questions we got left for.
Well,
that's about it, right?
It's been a pleasure to talk with someone who's developing into a cup match legend already. He is. One question. So you have had the ability to play in arenas all around the world. Is anything compared to cup match?
Cup match is quite unique.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very unique. I think out of all the atmospheres I've played around, cup matches is definitely up there with the best for a different reason. People being able to run on the field, the fans being so close. Obviously, in these other tournaments, the fans are quite far away. It does get loud at these other tournaments, but I think the fans being so far away, it doesn't feel as intimate. I think cup matches is definitely, the atmosphere is way up there.
Well, we've been talking with Kamal Levrock, 153 in the 2024 annual Cup Match Pleasure. Kamal, it's a pleasure. He's on his way to India to play in the Legends tournament. Is that the best way to describe it? And we wish him all the best and making Bermuda proud. You're watching the Cup Match 2024 highlight special right here on Channel 82.
St. George's. Yes, I'm shouting out to St. George's, my team for years. I'm Bob Marley's daughter, Sensimilia Marley, and I enjoy St. George's, and I love the team.
So Nikisha, tell us about this Crown and Anchor table. How's it going so far?
It's been a great day so far, and it's only just after lunch, but we're doing really well. So we're loving the people, the energy's great, we're having a good time.
What are you wearing today, and where did you get your inspiration?
I'm wearing a romper, and I got my inspiration to support my team, Somerset.
Can you please tell us who styled you today, and what are you wearing?
I styled myself, and I'm wearing a two-piece set from Shein. It's very like Barbie aesthetic, early 2000s. That's what I was going for.
Okay, Barbie aesthetic. Can you see it? I can see it.
Well, I come to Cup Match every year. I've been going all my life, so I like to look the part. I like to look nice every year when I go. I like to wear a dress that's airy so you can get the breeze. You want to look your best when you come to Cup Match.
Nothing serious, she don't want drama. Say bend up your waist like an inverted comma. Yeah, oh,
Somerset,
go down. Take me to the ground. You see all the winding, I like that. The kind of wildness, I like that.
My friends say vaping is cool and I should try it.
Everyone's doing it. It's just vapor, right?
But what's in the vapor? Vaping isn't harmless. It's a trap. Did you know vaping can cause lung damage, organ damage, addiction, and other health problems? Make the right choice. Stay vape-free.
This is a message from the Department for National Drug Control. Say no to vaping.
Hey Bermudian entrepreneurs, discover the simplicity of showcasing your products and services and get your business online and in front of virtual shoppers today. Use Buy Bermuda. For qualified vendors, sign up is free. Buy Bermuda is an online market where Bermudians can sell their products and services and shoppers can find everything they need while shopping locally online. By choosing Buy Bermuda, you're making a difference, supporting local dreams with every purchase. Entrepreneurs, join Buy Bermuda today and let's celebrate Bermuda's vibrant community together. Your success story starts here.
Here's what's new on Channel 82.
If you want to learn about plant-based eating and just nourishing your body from the inside out, look out for my show on Channel 82.
Want to learn how to shop for, prepare, and eat healthy food? Channel 82, where Bermuda shines through.
Welcome back. We are welcoming you back to our highlight show for Cup Match 2024. We have the distinct pleasure of having the presidents of the two clubs. On my far right is Mr. Richard Scott, the president of Somerset Cricket Club, and on my immediate right is Mr. Michel Painter, the president of St. George's Cricket Club. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Richard, you've just come off a successful, by all accounts, Cup Match 2024.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were looking forward to Saturday.
Very much so.
Tell us when preparation for Cup Match 2024 began, in earnest.
In earnest, in all sincerity, in Cup Match of 2023, I was actually having a meeting at Cup Match at St. George's in 2023. So I guess we could say that the preparation for Cup Match 2024 began at the 2023 match. So pretty much a year. That's what we're talking about.
And it goes right through.
And it goes consistently all the way through.
I don't think the public realizes where Cup Match has gone from to where it is now. With that, I mean the level of work and the level of detail that goes into putting on an event of that magnitude. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, it's a natural progression. We're talking about a match that started back in 1902, where you look at pictures and people were, just taking their umbrellas and their chairs to Cup Match. And we've evolved, and it's like anything else. The event now, and I was sharing with a few friends a few weeks ago that even when I was the president from 2006 to 2010, it had changed significantly when I came back in 2023, really. So the event itself is evolving, and just like life, as things evolve, it's gonna entail the content of the event is going to increase, and that's what we're seeing with Cup Match. It's no longer just the event where two clubs get together and have a match on the field. This is now has become a yes, the game is still going on, but it involves so many commercial things that's attached to it now. But I believe that's a positive and a natural progression as a part of how an event would evolve. So, yeah.
What would you say are the three most difficult aspects of putting on an event of this magnitude?
I think probably the most difficult is I believe that both clubs, what we aim to do is put on an event that is worthy of being considered Bermuda's premier event. So I would say it's probably, in my view, difficult to pinpoint what three, because Cup Match is a big I don't want to say animal in a negative sense, because of course of recent, we've heard some comments about animals not in a good light. But the event cup match itself has evolved into such a production that we want to get 10 out of 10 in all aspects, in every aspect. So, I mean, when it comes to the match, well, both teams want to pick the best team, and that's difficult. That's really difficult because you have, I mean, for us, we had in excess of 30 players vying for 11 spots, so that's difficult. You want to make sure that you're selecting the right team based on performance, based on merit. Now, when it comes to off the field, one of the most difficult things that I believe both of our clubs face is being able to accommodate the amount of people and making sure people are safe. So, of course, with that, specifically goes to the scaffolding, that we have so many things that we have to hit the mark, and we really cannot lessen the health and safety of the spectators.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So there's the logistics of putting all of that in place. There is there's the planning and safety, planning with a capital P, the planning department, and the logistics of the safety behind that. There's the cost of all of that. That must be a phenomenal undertaking. So tell us a little bit about what goes into that, if you can.
The scaffolding is very expensive, extremely expensive, and
because everybody thinks this is a money pit for George's Cricket Club, and you're just sitting there just raking in money from scaffolding, but it really is a huge undertaking.
I think we both clubs have the responsibility, and we have a responsibility to kind of look at the public perspective when it comes to the perception about cup match. I think in the past, people have had a perception that cup match is a smash and grab for those who are on the committees. Whether that's really happened or not, I can't speak to it. It's never happened under my regime. So I don't know. The rumor mill on
the internet's undefeated. So you can't.
Until truth is told. But the undertaking for the scaffolding itself is hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, hundreds of them, not just one, not two, and not three. It's rather pricey. And of course, we then unfortunately have to pass that cost on to the plot holders. So it would seem rather expensive, and it's expensive because it's expensive to us. So, it's no smash and grab for the clubs. Are we making a little bit of money on it? Of course.
Or you'd be expected.
Yeah, we are. But it's, we're not, this is definitely not a smash and grab for either of the clubs.
Once you've dealt with that, then there are other things. You allocate the plots, but then there are vendors around there. There's the washroom facilities. There's the security, management. I guess the list is endless.
Security is probably then the next most expensive aspect of it. We unfortunately, even in the evolution of cup match, we've evolved as a community. And that evolution has a bit of negativity attached to it, unfortunately. So once again, we want to ensure the safety for everyone who is coming. So as a result, and in some cases, we're even not legislated, but we're encouraged, rather strong-armed, to, of course, ensure that we have adequate security to make sure that those who are coming to the match feel safe, are safe, and that we would take the necessary steps to ensure the safety of individuals. And of course, that comes with a cost. It's a 2-day holiday. Most times, excuse me, there's an inflated price attached to, working on a holiday, and that once again gets passed on to us to absorb. So it's a rather hefty price tag for security.
Is there ever a point during the course of the day or the 2 days where you're able to just sit back, look around, and watch the game?
When you're hosting, that time is very limited, because when you're hosting, it's your brain is full with, is this going right? Just making sure everything's functioning, as a well-oiled wheel. You're looking around. I'm constantly looking around the grounds and saying,
It
okay,
shouldn't
everything,
be like that.
yeah,
It should be.
everything's fine. And even though you have a team in place, at the end of the day, it's still a reflection of the leadership. So as far as really getting a chance to just sit down and relax, it's funny because after lunch this year, this was the first time in my this would have been my fourth hosting, say 10. Yeah. So my fourth cup match, I actually went home to my house after lunch, got a shower, and I got in my bed. And I actually went to bed for about two, maybe 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
While the game was going on?
Yeah. I was watching you guys for a minute.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, look, man, you're about to crash and burn. So I just turned the TV, the match was still playing, but I went off to sleep. And my wife called me. She was like, Rich, it's 5:30. You're not back.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was exhausted, from all the lead up. Yeah. But Friday was a little more relaxed. I was able to, kind of play host to those individuals, the dignitaries that we invite, and those who are up on the top porch. Got to spend a little bit of time in my own personal camp. So it was a little, but I'm looking forward to coming to Valentin Oval next year, where I would just be in relaxation mode.
So looking forward to 2026, are there things that you learned that you think you would be able to up your game, or not even to necessarily up your game, to entice or encourage people to look forward to an even better performance? And I'm going to ask Mr. Painter that
Really, I think
for 2025.
Well, let's say this. Whoever is in the president's seat in 2026, whether it's someone else or the very unlikely that it's me, I will be sure to pass on that information so that there's a smooth transition. Like I mentioned earlier, that cup match has evolved and it changed so much, but it's like anything else. Once you've done it, then it's a little easier to plan, and you know what pitfalls to look out for. There's a lot of things that we didn't do right that we will correct for 2026. And the awesome part about that is, it's such a great relationship that Michelle and myself have, that we're sharing all the information. We're sharing that.
What's the best part of cup match for you?
Other than winning? I think for me, because I'm a tourism person as well, I think that it's an opportunity for Bermuda to showcase who we are, because cup match, it's almost like the embodiment. We get to come together to celebrate emancipation. We get to get together for the match, obviously, but we get together to be Bermudian. And I believe, for me personally, the best part about that is almost like we get to experience all these different aspects of our culture in one place. And we get to do that together. And, it's something special about cup match. Yes, one team will win, one will lose. And then on the other occasion, we have the draws. But we see the embodiment of who we are as Bermuda to each other. And then we share that commonality with our visitors. And I think for me, that's probably the highlight of cup match.
That's fantastic. So, Mr. Painter, your first year as president of St. George's Cricket Club, you had the benefit, I guess, of being able to watch it without the responsibility of being in charge. What would you say are the primary takeaways from this experience that you're looking to bring to Wellington Oval?
Primary takeaway would be to start early.
Yep.
Plan well. Communicate effectively, and execute things to a high degree.
So you heard Richard say that he's started at 2023, his cup match, preparing for 2024. I know that you've started 2024, preparing for 2025. So you've been in a managerial role, an executive managerial role at St. George's already.
Yes.
And so you already have a concept of what's involved.
Yes.
What are your primary objectives, or what do you see as the things that stand out most in front as being of most importance to get ready early for Cup Match 20?
So, as Richard said, I have a very good relationship with Richard. I had a very good relationship with the past president, for Sean. As you know, and Richard knew, we started our preparation for Cup Match 2025 before Somerset had Cup Match up Somerset. So we're, in a sense, looking at improving a lot of the organizational structural features, the infrastructure part, and how can we communicate more effectively and better to the general public. Yeah.
The infrastructure, you've got the scaffolding, you've got the security. Richard was just explaining these things: the infrastructure, the scaffolding, the security. Those are the primary things. I guess you can't start dealing with those until next year, or you started dealing with those already.
Yeah, we started already. We had a meeting yesterday. So me and Richard had a meeting yesterday. So whenever he's back, we discuss, we plan, we map out.
So this is unique. We won't have our viewers to see this, right? Because there has historically been expected to have been a rivalry between the two clubs. Obviously, that's not the case, right? There has been talk of there being the development of some sort of a corporate entity between the two clubs. We obviously don't expect you to speak to that because we know it's in its genesis. But first of all, I guess the question would be: is that true?
Yeah. So the collaboration between St. George's and Somerset has become a lot better. And I say it all the time to Richard. Before, it was like the Cold War, where both clubs were at like the standstill looking at each other. And I'm like, it's one event. Like, let's start.
Both are, right?
Yeah, like, let's start chipping away at the walls. Let's break down the barriers. Let's start sharing stuff. Let's collaborate. Let's make this easier for both of us. And let's use the resources of both clubs to make this event for Bermuda even better. And so what we've done is we willingly and openly share information that has to do with the event that we share. And it has made it easier. It has made it a lot easier and a lot smoother. Richard has welcomed me in some of his meetings, and I intend to do the same thing with him so that going forward, we know exactly what we're dealing with when we deal with different entities, right? Whether that be government, the people with scaffolding and the like. And I think that level of collaboration will only see this event get better and become smoother for us as the organizers and as well for the general public.
What do you see going into 2025 as probably your primary or your biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge, as Richard said, is always the scaffold. And so the scaffolding is a thing that has allowed us to grow the amount of people who are allowed into Cup Match. So before, we had only people on the surface level and people who built their camp up, which are still on the ground. The scaffolding has allowed us to, in a sense, pile people on top of people and increase the magnitude of the event. With that comes Department of Planning, Department of National Security, Police, Fire, Department of Health and the like, who all have an impact and a say on how Cup Match is put forward and how it is run and organized. And so bringing all of those entities together, managing the different components of that and ensuring that it's executed well and to a high standard is always going to be the most critical part of what we do in Cup Match right now.
There's and this is for both of you to answer. There's a common conception that, well, I wouldn't say it's a common, but there's the thought out there that Cup Match is a cash cow for both clubs, and that you just sit there raking in all kinds of money, and that at the end of Cup Match, you should be wealthy institutions, and that then somewhere between the course of this Cup Match and next Cup Match, something happens. How does to dispel that?
I think we will get there.
Yeah.
I think we will get there to make it a profitable or a more profitable event.
Yeah.
I think with that comes the understanding of how to get there, and we're getting there. We are making inroads into that. And from there is just the execution of the plans that we have in place and execution of the different things with the various vendors that we are having conversations with. It will become easier and it will become smoother. And it's about constant dialogue with, again, the government of Bermuda and the various ministries, and then the private entities on how to make this more successful for not only us, but also the people of Bermuda.
Yeah. I think one of the challenges, I think we're got to kind of work through this juxtaposition that we find ourselves in, of thinking of cup match of old with cup match of new. And so the public, I think, still have in their mind, oh wow, this is an opportunity for the clubs to make a whole lot of money. But like I mentioned earlier, in the evolution, as we continue to, for instance, each one of the government entities, departments that we have to deal with, they put requirements on us, and that turns into money.
That's right. So there's a cost.
Yeah, there's a cost attached to that, and people don't understand that. You come to cup match and you see lights, camera, action. But just like we're here, they don't see what we see. They don't see the production side of it. They just see us. And similarly with cup match, people come to the match and they just see scaffolding up. It's the match is going on, but they don't realize that there is a hefty price tag attached to every single thing that you see going on. And I believe, once again, it's the education, it's us putting the message out there and letting, not necessarily saying, okay, well, this cup costs $50, but not everything, but just really enlightening the general public. Just think about if you were renovating your house, if you bought a old Bermuda cottage and now you have this nice upgraded place, there were costs attached to the upgrade and the renovation of that, and it's very similar, a similar concept when it comes to putting cup match on.
And then it's the time factor as well. So which is why we've started already. It's the time factor of executing those things. Whereas Tiny Dot, 700 miles off North Carolina, in the middle of the Atlantic. Another thing is the concessions. Will we be given the concessions as other entities or events have been given to improve cup match? And the government of Bermuda has come on board. Absolutely. They understand that to assist us in those matters so that we can execute it at a very high level. We had to ask for it. We had to fight for it a little bit. But they have, over the years, been more receptive to what we've been telling them and asking them. So it's a good relationship that we have with them. I have a very good relationship with the current minister, Owen Darrell. I hope you don't move anywhere. What we find is with new ministers comes new protocols, procedures, and the like. So
priorities,
as well as, the changes of permanent secretary. When they move, it's like you built this great relationship with them, and then eventually you get somebody in who comes brand new, who's trying to put new things on you. Like, this is not what was agreed upon. And so then you have to pivot. And so sometimes, the handover of various things has to be smoother as well, so that we can execute better on our end.
Yeah. One of the challenges I also experienced this year is that, this is why I will say this, and this may be a bit controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's important, young people, to be educated and get into positions where Bermudians are making decisions about our events. We have a few of the institutions that we have to take direction from, and we're taking them with people who are not necessarily familiar with our cup match culture. So, and no slight to them, they're going to follow their rule book, right? But when it's us in these positions making the decisions, because we've grown up in the culture, it's not that we're lessening it, but we're understanding the culture of even cup match. So again, I've said something that you have to try to
No, but it's a
read
very,
between the
very valid
lines.
point. I
Yeah.
mean, the cup match is unique.
Yes,
It is
absolutely.
unique to Bermudians, and so for those of us who grew up in this culture, not only in the Bermudian culture but in the cup match culture,
Yes.
You have to be able to understand and appreciate that to be able to navigate and assist in the development of the event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's very, very important.
I'm glad you brought that up because this year I want to thank both of you guys prior to Cup Match, helping us to get the feeling what Cup Match is, the culture, what is Cup Match really about. And a lot of the events you guys led up to Cup Match, you explained Cup Match to a lot of people who probably never heard what Cup Match really means to us in that sense. Going forward, and I've always said it, we have to tell our own story. What do you guys think about how we tell our story? Because once again, if we don't tell our story,
somebody's
going to write it for us.
I sort of alluded to that Premier's event, right? I believe as an educator, I'm an English teacher by trade, we have to tell our story. And it's okay to look at our history from other people's perspectives. Her name is Chinamana Adichie. She talks about she only saw Africans portrayed in books as these poor black people who lived in huts and starved. So when she went to school in America, they were trying to teach her how to use a stove as though she never had access to a stove. Cup Match is the same way. Is that if we personally do not teach people and tell people about our history of how we see it from our perspective, they're going to make up, they're going to develop, they're going to tell other people what Cup Match is. And it's nothing we can do to control that other than to tell our perspective and our story. And that's what we have to do. So we've been doing that collectively between Richard and myself from our own perspectives of what Cup Match means to us. We had a young man, Dion, who sat on my porch and captured what Cup Match means to me. So we're starting to tell our story. I have my niece, Jade Gibbons, who collects images as a photographer who tells their stories, and there's more and more creatives who are doing that, who are telling the story of Bermuda and what does that mean to us as Bermudian people, and then taking that image and spreading it around the world at times. So we're getting better at it. Are we perfect? No. But we have taken these steps to actually start to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Are we looking at something like that, educational side of it, all year long instead of just around
But it should
Cup
be.
Match time?
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Because
get
the
to that.
importance of that,
We're getting to that. I was sharing with President Michel, man. I said, man, I feel almost embarrassed at the fact that I sat in this seat back in 2006 to 2010, and the whole idea of emancipation kind of just sat there. But this year, it was almost like the whole emancipation movement was ignited in me. And and I told him, I said, man, I believe that both clubs, we have a responsibility to almost jam this down people's throats, because we can't say, oh yes, this is our event, and kind of
It's only about cricket.
Yeah.
It's not just about cricket.
It's so not about, it's
So
no,
that's the thing. So if you think, I compare it as being akin to Junkanoo in the Bahamas, right?
Okay.
That is the embodiment, that's the most important part of their culture,
Right.
right? And it's so important that every child knows the
About it.
history, knows about the development and how important it is. And it's a part of their curriculum, right? So there's no reason why, I think, and I'm not an educator, but I think that it should be an important part of the curriculum for every child to know about the genesis and the history behind Cup Match. Not just the cricket, but the whole concept around the event, the holiday, the emancipation, the Mary Prince Park, because it's such an important part of our culture that it should be embodied and made a part of I mean, it doesn't have to be a whole subject, of course, but it could be involved in civics or whatever they call it now, right? So that should be included.
I tell you what, and again, this may sound rather controversial. For me, Cup Match is a part, just a small smidgen of the emancipation story.
That's right.
Like, we as Bermudians ought to know the emancipation story, because the emancipation story, yes, the clubs decided to kind of, do something as a result, but the emancipation story involves every single one of us, even the types of jobs that we all have today, you know. So this emancipation story has to get out, and I believe that, at least the clubs, we can do a little more with the education part of it as far as cup match is concerned.
That's right.
Now, it will be up to the educators and there's others to get the rest of it, but I truly believe that it's vitally important for each and every one of us to know the emancipation story.
Well, for me, cup match is Christmas. It's the best time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. I look forward to it every year, and I just can't stress the importance of it. I think we've gotten a little bit off topic right now, because we're supposed to be talking about cup match last year and looking forward to. But Mr. President, if the bar has been set for you for next year, but of course we all know that you're up to the task. Any parting words that you want to give to anyone who is considering whether or not they want to come to Wellington Oval next year?
For those that are looking to come to Wellington Oval, I would say you're more than welcome to come. We will be very organized, we'll be very prepared, and hopefully the festivities will be absolutely amazing.
The work has begun already.
Work has begun already. We intend to provide a safe environment, and with that, we intend to welcome anybody and everybody from whatever creed you are, whatever nation you want to come to Bermuda. Come to Wellington Oval and to experience 2 very, very great days of cricket and festivities.
We always call cup match the best of Bermuda, and we continue to say that. There's nothing better than cup match. There's nothing bigger than cup match on our calendar. And just as Michelle said, there's no place better to be on that Thursday and Friday than at cup match. Gentlemen, thank you for the benefit of your time. I'm grateful to have you. We're grateful to have you both here together to show the unity and to show the collaboration that exists between the two clubs. Thank you again.
Sure.
And we'll be right back with our Cup Match Highlights show, Cup Match 2024, right here on Channel 82.
Thank you.
My friends say vaping is cool and I should try it.
Everyone's doing it. It's just vapor, right?
But what's in the vapor? Vaping isn't harmless. It's a trap.
I'll say no to vaping.
Did you know vaping can cause lung damage, organ damage, addiction, and other health problems? Make the right choice. Stay vape-free.
This is a message from the Department for National Drug Control. Say no to vaping.
For us, Cup Match is an event that showcases the best of Bermuda. We see the best of our cricketing athletes, the best of fashion, the best of our food, and the best of our culture. Cup Match 2024 did not disappoint and only whet our appetite for Cup Match 2025. We encourage you to remember the importance of Cup Match and what it represents to Bermuda. We promise you it will only get better.
We'd like to thank all our sponsors who made our production possible this year. Also the clubs, the presidents, the players, and of course you, the fans.
We hope you've enjoyed our highlights presentation tonight, and we thank you for the benefit of your time. We'll see you next year.